Sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live on this Saturday morning, ready to talk some college football news. And will Texas Tech show us that they have some integrity when dealing with the Brendan Sorsby issue? We're here this morning. I got my man One Take Zaya in the building with me. How you feeling, One Take?
What's good with it, family? I'm great, man. You know, we woke up this morning. It's a good day out here.
Facts. We woke up this morning. It's definitely a good day. We also got our man T1 of City League TV in the building with us. How you feeling, T1?
Feeling great, feeling great, feeling great. What it do, my brothers, and happy Sabbath.
Happy
What up,
Sabbath,
T?
man. Good to see you this
What it
morning.
do?
Hey, man, let's go ahead and get right into this college football news. Is college football the best regular season in sports?
Man, best regular season. Yeah, I probably have to give them that. I have to give football the best regular season. Postseason would be NCAA basketball. So yeah, I'm with that because all the other sports, I ain't feeling them so much right now.
Yeah, college football, man. You know, you play a 12-game season, so each week you got high stakes game. You know, last year it was Texas Ohio State week 1. We know we kind of felt like whoever won that game probably be leg up, finishing as one of the top teams in the country. But it's high stakes games every week in college football. I don't care like how many. It just depends on how many it is for real. It's always at least one though.
Yeah, that's a fact. I agree with you both. When you look at college football, man, the stakes are so freaking high every freaking weekend. It's the one sport where you cannot afford to lose 2 and 3 games. For a long time in college football, you couldn't lose one game or you might be out of the chance to win the national title. Now it's where you can't lose 2 or 3 games and you might not make the college football playoffs. So every week is high stakes. You gotta win every week. Everything is on the line if you want to play for a national championship every single week. And then when you got bangers like Texas and Ohio State week 1 last year, week 2 this year, you got big games all the time that decides what a team is going to have to do the remainder of the season if they lose that game. So every weekend, as sports fans who love college football, we're watching intensely because we know if a team drops several games, they are going to be out of the running to make it to the CFP. And thank God they got 12 teams now. But remember when it was only 2? And all of those, it was some undefeated teams that didn't make it. And then when they went to 4, there were some one-loss teams that didn't make it. And now that they've gone to 12, you even got 2 lost teams who have not made the college football playoffs. So if you lose 3, you could almost cancel Christmas. So I think
Yeah,
that college football is definitely the best regular season sport in sports history, in my opinion. You got something else to add to that, T1?
yeah. I was just gonna say. I mean, just like you said. I mean, can you imagine just not too long ago if you lost one game, your season was over, and for some schools, for some universities, now your season was considered a failure. You're 11-1. Your season is over, and everybody's walking around with their head down, and you have a 90% winning percentage. That's just absolutely crazy, man, and that's just another reason and another fact with college football being the best sport in regular season.
Yeah, you got anything else to add to that, One Take?
Nah,
Our man
nah, y'all.
Our man Mossberg of Level Up Sport. Oh, that's post game. Our man post game of the post game sports podcast says absolutely. The college football regular season is like the playoffs before it starts. Good morning, gentlemen. I totally agree. We get playoff matchups during the season all the time, man, and we know that those games have playoff implications all the time. And I know for those of you who like Ohio State and Michigan, if both of those teams are really, really good and then they meet on that last game, y'all like, dang, there is so much on the line because of this game and in this game that you want your team to come out on top because of how it might end your season if you don't win that game. So I totally agree with you on that post game. Our next question is North Dakota State has gone to an FBS school and they are now in the Mountain West Conference. What chances are you giving North Dakota State of being relevant in the Mountain West and possibly winning it when you got the likes of San Diego State, you got Boise State, you got, well, I think Boise State might be moving on pretty soon. You got UNLV, teams like that out there. What chances do you give North Dakota State moving up in competition in the FBS to play against the likes of those teams in the Mountain West?
Give them a 100% chance. I mean, North Dakota State has been a really, really big powerhouse in the FCS. So I'm giving them a great chance of winning that division within the first 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, that North Dakota State is that's a team that even like a lot of the major programs be trying to stay away from scheduling for real because that ain't no easy game. So man, I listen. I think they could compete right off the bat. I don't think they're gonna win it, but I know for a fact that they're gonna be able to compete and play against some of them better teams in that conference from day one. They recruit and they find the what's the word I'm looking for? They find the little jewels, that nobody really, can catch. You know what I'm saying? That just snuck through the cracks. So they'd be all right. I'm telling you, man. I listen. If I was I am a betting man. I ain't gonna bet for them to win, but they gonna pop somebody that don't nobody expect them to pop year one, and they gonna put everybody on notice. They
Yeah,
play
I'm giving them
football
a
in North. They play football in Dakota.
yeah, they sure do. I'm giving them a really good chance to be really competitive in their first year. But like T1 said, and what One Take Zed said, by year 2, 3, man, they're gonna be right up at the top of that thing. They're gonna give everybody a game for sure, right off the bat. And I think they can mess around and in 2 or 3 years be at the top of that thing, winning it year in and year out, fighting for a chance to make it to the college football playoffs because I think their program and the system that they run there is just that good. And like One Take said, they find some freaking gems, man, all over the place. They put guys into the NFL. They always have a really good defensive line, a really good offensive line. And there's a lot of schools who, like Appalachian State, was getting a lot of big time playing schools, and people started dodging them eventually. That's the way North Dakota State has been. Teams have been dodging them like, no, we don't want to run the chance of messing around and losing to these guys like some of us lost to Appalachian State, so they weren't scheduling them. But I really think this was a good move for North Dakota State. I think they're going to be able to play effectively in the league, and eventually they're going to be one of the best teams year in and year out in that Mountain West Conference. We got our man Level Up Sports 10 in there. He's saying, good morning, homies. He's also saying we have T1 of City League TV, Ask Somebody Else, man of many hats, making a cameo. He's in the building. Man, listen, I think that they got a real good chance of winning. And he's giving you a shout out, T1, because sometimes we miss you because you stay so busy, brother. But we good to see you here this morning.
What it do? What it do, Moss B? I'm in the building, bro.
Let's talk a little bit about Dylan Raiola, his decision to go to Oregon, to a school that already has Dante Moore, who he knew he was going to have to sit behind him as the quarterback one at Oregon. What do you think about this move for Dylan Raiola in his career? Do you think it was a smart move? Do you think it was the best decision for him to make? And how do you see him faring next year if he becomes quarterback one in 2027?
That was a confusing move to me. Uh, I don't know how much sense it makes at all. I mean, he's a player. He's shown that he can play at this level. I feel like he could have easily went somewhere with an open quarterback spot available and been able to help a team. So I'm not sure what this looks like at all. It's confusing to me.
Yeah, I like the move. Dante Moore took like a similar route. Um, he played at UCLA. Then
I think one take hit a dead spot. So let me go ahead and are you there, one take?
yeah, it was a phone call. My bad. But he got a year. He got a year starting under his belt, so he can sit back behind Dante Moore.
That
Yeah,
my
somebody
phone
want to
is
talk to you
All
real
right, my
bad.
bad,
Real
man.
bad, one take.
I I keep getting phone calls. My bad. But he got that 1 year under his belt to start. Now he can really see and sit behind somebody that's super seasoned and Dante Moore, kind of learn a few things from him, and then kind of hit the ground running with a whole bunch of more talent around him in 27. So I like the move. And injuries is a part of football too. So we know they got a good backup behind him too as well. If something was unfortunate to happen. So we don't know. We might see him this year anyway.
Yeah, when I first seen him make that move, I was just like you were, T1. I thought it was a bad move. I thought he should have went somewhere where he could play quarterback uh, right here in 2026 and not have to sit behind the guy. But then when I started to think about it, the 2 years he had in Nebraska and how that played out, whoever his quarterback coach was and whoever the offensive coordinator was, they really didn't develop him in the way that I felt like he needed to be developed. So now he goes to Oregon. He has a chance to sit and learn behind a Dante Moore who went a similar route, had to wait behind the guy in Dylan Gabriel. Now his Dante Moore's time to start in 2027. It'll be Dylan Raiola's. Hopefully he can learn some things. He's with a really good offensive mind in Dan Lanning. They got a good offensive scheme. I think he has an opportunity to uh, remake himself and become an even better quarterback going into year 4 of his career. And then if he decides to stay for a 5th year, that will probably be even better and give him a better chance of being an NFL quarterback because he will have surpassed that 25 game uh, minimum that we think quarterbacks in college should play in order to be a good, effective NFL quarterback once you get at least 25 games under your belt. So I like the move after looking at it a little bit further, but I was just like you, T1. I felt like he should have went somewhere and played and got a little bit more playing experience, a little bit more time to try to fix some things, but maybe sitting and watching might be even better for him.
Hey,
My man,
question.
yeah, go ahead.
How do you think that affects the quarterback room and the recruiting at that quarterback position with a player like that coming in? If you're a young quarterback, are you looking at Oregon with that season? You can call him a seasoned veteran as a backup right there. Are you looking at as a recruit? Would you be looking to go to Oregon, or are you saying, "Hey, I'm going somewhere else"?
Well, I know if there's a quarterback coming out in 26, he may be looking to go there. One in 27 for sure, because he knows maybe by 28 he'll 29 he'll be able to be the starter. He can get 2 years under his belt. 26 is kind of iffy. Maybe a guy wants to come in, learn a little bit something, and maybe get a couple of opportunities here and there under a good coaching staff, but then transfer out of there. But if I'm a quarterback and I want to get on the field by year two, definitely by my junior year, then I'm probably not looking at Oregon. I'm probably looking elsewhere in the country where I can go and play, especially if I'm a 5-star quarterback. And having Dylan Raiola there, they're going to have to deal with that scenario. So that's a good question that you asked, because they're going to have to deal with that because quarterbacks, they look at that quarterback room that's there and say, listen, I'm not going to get on the field until maybe my senior year, and after 4 years, and I don't want to do that. They're going to probably have to get a developmental guy that maybe can come in and sit for 3 years and learn something, and then either move on or get his opportunity to play. But it's a whole lot of different kinds of quarterbacks out there that's looking to go different routes. But a 5-star guy, he probably not looking at Oregon in that way, unless that money is not.
Yeah, but this isn't normal. What he's doing isn't normal.
It's not
Nobody's
normal.
going and saying, "Hey, I want to go and sit for a year and learn," and especially someone who's already been a starter. So, like, this isn't normal, but it seems like it's something that we should be seeing more of, because you see some of these quarterbacks, they just get thrown right into the fire, just like in the NFL. They just get thrown right into the fire when they need a little bit of time to develop and just sit back and just watch someone else play that position and see how that position is played before they just hop right into the fire. So this is just an abnormal thing that we see in college football from the quarterback position.
Yeah, let's see what our man Level Up Sports 10 had to say about this Dylan Raiola situation. He says Dylan is trying to get to the NFL. Will he be the quarterback whom has the freshman buzz, the quarterback that will bring a title to Eugene? He definitely can learn from more. He might get that opportunity, because we all know that Oregon has a chance to play for the national championship going into this season with the talent that they have in a really good conference in the Big Ten. So they're going to be well tested. They're going to get a chance to possibly make it to the college football playoffs if they win the games they need to win. And will Dylan Raiola finally be the piece that get them over the top? Because this year you're looking at Ohio State, you're looking at Notre Dame, Texas, Oregon. I think out of those 4 teams, any one of those 4 teams can possibly win this thing. You could also throw Miami in there as well. So you're talking about 5 teams. And I got a question later on, based on those 5 teams and some other teams, what y'all think might happen in the end. But we'll get to that question a little bit later on. Let's see what our man Anthony Manzano has to say. Go ahead, T1.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I wonder if he reached out to Ohio State, because Ohio State was high up on his board coming out of high school. And we actually, Ryan Day is known for developing quarterbacks. So I'm curious if he reached out to Ohio State, and if he did, if Ohio State may have said, we got somebody waiting next year, so maybe go look elsewhere, because I think he's a great quarterback, and I actually wanted him out of high school. So, for him to get up out of Nebraska and go sit behind, a quarterback over in Oregon, that like I say, it's confusing to me, but I kind of understand it for him. And then I wouldn't have mind him being over on that Ohio State sideline, because, like I said, I even wanted him coming out of high school. So
Yeah, T, he was committed to us for a
Yeah.
long period of time, but he done switched his commitment more than the TV remote switch channels.
Right.
Only to land at Nebraska, which really made no sense.
Right.
Well, I
Right.
think that's like the family school or something. It's something
Yeah, it
about
is.
like
It is.
their family or
His dad
something.
went there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, our man post game said that Oregon has a top 10 quarterback possibly coming in the 2027 class. Anthony Manzano said Oregon proved to me that the last 2 years that their offense is more of a regular season thing. They're not a playoff built offense. And I think on this show, we've said that many times that Oregon during the regular season is really, really good. But when they get to the playoffs, they don't fare so well because their teams just aren't built that way, especially to compete with the teams that they've faced so far in the college football playoffs. They've eventually ran into a team that has demolished them or beat them pretty handily. So we tend to agree with you on that, Anthony Manzano. Um, let's go
Hey,
on to our next. Go ahead.
hey, so I know they keep on getting handled, but we gotta understand that they keep on leveling up for real. You know,
Yeah,
last year we know what happened with when they played, or 2 years ago we know what happened when they ran into the buzzsaw of those Ohio State Buckeyes that they ran into. But last year, they got one step closer. So you're seeing progression at Oregon. Let's give them credit for that. All you can ask for is continued progression. Eventually, if you keep on progressing, you'll win the national championship.
yeah, I agree with. Hey, listen, I'm hoping that that's the case for my Texas Longhorns. So I'm glad you said that because I hope that's the case for us eventually at some point. Thanks for that super chat, my man Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10. Let's give a shout out to KT's Good Eats LLC. They'll be out there at Witten's Farm today at 3341 Winchester Pike. Go check them out. I'm telling you right now, you will not be disappointed. Go check them out. They're going to be there from 12:30 until I think 5:30 today. Witten's Farm, 3341 Winchester Pike. That's one of our sponsors of our show. So definitely go and see them. Let's check out this question from Anthony Manzano. And y'all tell me out of these schools, where you think Dylan Raiola probably should have went if he didn't go to Oregon. He's saying that the four schools outside of Oregon that were heavily targeting Dylan Raiola were Miami, Texas Tech, USC, Oregon, and Texas A&M. Do you think, looking at that now in the landscape of things that were taking place at that time when he made the commitment to go to Oregon, do you think he should have went to one of these other teams, or one of these other teams been a better fit for him?
I think he should have went to whoever had an open position.
Which would have
Yeah, I
been
mean,
Miami and Texas Tech at that time.
Yep. Yep.
if y'all look at it like that, I look at it like he probably be in the same position for real. Cause I don't think Miami would have turned down Mensa for Rayola, and I don't think Texas Tech would have turned down Sorsby for Rayola. So USC got a returning quarterback, Texas A&M got a returning quarterback, Oregon got a returning quarterback. I feel like he would have been in the same position, but as like growth wise, one thing I be identifying is like a lot of these dudes need to look at Miami, man. You want to boost your draft stock. We seen Cam Ward do it. We seen Carson Beck had a turnaround solid year and he went to a national championship. I would look at Miami always as one of them ultra high end quarterback transfer portal moves, because when quarterbacks go there, they usually turn out typically having good years.
Yeah, that is definitely true. That is definitely true. I think before they got Mensa and before they got Sorsby, I think Dylan Raiola was on the table for them. Um, and those guys came a little bit after that. But I agree with you. It would have been the same situation if he was to go to them after they got Mensa and after Texas Tech got Sorsby, it would have been the same situation. Definitely was the same at Texas A&M and USC. So maybe he did make a good solid move there. Let's go to our next question, and it's in relations to those 5 teams that we named: Miami, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas. If we look at those teams, and it might be another team or two in there, if we look at all of those teams and they probably had the highest chance of winning next year's national championship, is there any coach out there that's coaching a new team in the Power Four that you think could win the national title over any of those 5 teams that we named? Is there a team out there? Can LSU do it? They got a new coach. Can any of those teams that out there that got a new coach win the national title? Can Penn State do it? Can Virginia Tech do it? Any of those schools? Florida.
I think it's only one school with that possibility, and I would have to go with LSU. You know, they have the coach who's won, and I think they just will be in the best position to be that team that you speak of that's coming in with a new coach and being able to go and play for a national championship. I think that's the only one.
Yeah, I forgot Georgia. You're right, Anthony. Georgia, you could throw them in there too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with 2 schools. LSU with Lane over there. We know they're gonna have a lot of horses on that team, you know. But I'm gonna have to say Ole Miss too, because Trinidad Chambers and Keywan Lacey is there. So I can see them. I can see them making some noise if everything's settled, if all the dust settled properly. You know, they could possibly be the best team in the SEC this year.
Yeah, I definitely like both of those picks in LSU and Ole Miss, but I'm gonna say no. I don't think there's any new coach at his new school that is going to be able to win this national title. I just feel like the teams that are going to be some of the best in the country, and the fact that they're where their programs are now, under the coaches that they have and have had for several years now, I don't see them losing to a coach that's in year one at the school that he's at. I just don't see Ryan Day losing to Ole Miss or LSU. I just don't see Georgia doing that. I just don't see Miami doing that. I don't see Notre Dame doing that. I don't see Texas doing that. I just don't see those schools losing to a team that is in year one with their coach. I just don't see it. It's possible because it's college football and they're both of them teams are going to be really, really talented. I just don't see them beating any of those teams with the coaching staffs that they got that are not in year one either. Sure, I just don't see it. But those are really,
But
really good choices that y'all made.
hey, but listen though, Rob. Oh, you right. Post game said he don't say Ole Miss, and he told us why. I'm never gonna say that again. Mississippi, they hired in house though, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a little different when you hire in house and you got somebody that was already on that staff, and you had one of your best seasons last year in a while. So I think that's a case that need to be isolated. You know, they hired in house, just like people are nervous about what's going to happen over at Oregon this year because they got a new OC in DC. They hired in house though. You know, it's not somebody that hasn't been around these players and hasn't been in the program. So I
Mhm.
think when you hire in house, it's not the same as having the returning guy in charge, but it helps you skip a couple steps that you probably had to go through with a new regime.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think that's a really good point that you made. Anthony Manzano has something to say about this Indiana team, and both of you being Big Ten guys. He said, I feel Indiana is a one-hit wonder. I don't think they make it to the playoffs again. They're gonna have a good season, but I don't think they make the playoffs. What's your thoughts on that? Because we named several really good teams out of the Big Ten, and we can definitely see the Big Ten getting 4 teams into the college football playoffs. Do you think Indiana can be one of those teams behind on Ohio State and Oregon, who I think will probably be 2 locks to make it there? Do y'all think Indiana can be one of those 4 teams to make it?
I think they can. I think they still got a little bit of magic in them. I think Sid got something going on, and so yeah, I think they still could possibly make it. I'm going to have to see them fall off before I say that they're not going to be able to keep doing what they've been doing now. Do I think they're going to go win back-to-back natties? No, absolutely not. But do I think that they can make it into the playoffs? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think Anthony Manzano sleep on Coach Sig, man. You know, he Nick Saban tree. You know, a lot of these Nick Saban guys turn out to do well, man. And I don't see him going back to back either, like T1 said. But my hot take is it's going to be 5 Big Ten teams in the playoffs this year instead of the SEC. I think the SEC get 3 and the Big Ten get 5. And I think Indiana is in that 5. So I think they'd be in there in the hunt come playoff time.
Okay. I think that Indiana is going to be a really good football team next year. Do I think they're going to be in the top 4 or 5 in the Big Ten? I believe they are going to be in the top 4 or 5, right around 3, 4, 5. I don't see them being in the top 2, but I think that if Michigan can right the ship with their quarterback and USC can right the ship, they could be right there at 3 and 4 and Indiana possibly at 5, but I could definitely see Indiana at 3 or 4 as well. We just have to let this season play out and see how it goes. But I think as long as Cignetti is their coach, they're gonna be good. Are they gonna always win the Big Ten and win national championships? No, but they're gonna always be good as long as Cignetti is their coach. I think he got the right culture, he's the right fit, and they're doing the right things. And I don't think the fact that they won that national last year is just some outlier. I think he's going to always be good and have a chance to make it to the college football playoffs.
Yeah,
He
put
said
his
no
next
big
comment up
recruits are
there.
going to want to go to Indiana, but Sig ain't banking on no big recruits coming. He waiting to get guys later on down the line out that transfer portal that got some experience. He ain't looking to get no big time guy that he got to pay a boatload of money to because they don't have a boatload of money. So I think he's gonna be all right. What y'all think about
Well,
that?
they've been infusing money into that program, but the thing is with Sig is he's the type of guy that's gonna go recruit guys in the portal that he think can play on that level, but is being overlooked. But he also gonna get them usually, typically for multiple years. It's not gonna be just one offs. You know, at some of your highlighted positions, they might be one offs like quarterback or something, but typically he want guys that's gonna be there for a couple years. You know, so it ain't. We saying the turnaround of the transfer portal. Yeah, that's a thing, and comparing it to Florida State, but you gotta understand, Sig is a different type of brother, man. He don't play around, bro. He got. Trust me, he got that locker room in the chokehold. It's not the same of comparing to what's Florida State's coach's name? Um,
Oh yeah, he on the hot seat too. What is this dude's name? Mossberg, where you
Norvell,
at?
Norvell,
Yeah.
Mike Norvell. He not. It's not the same. Like they don't give me the same vibe. You know, Sig, he seemed like a no nonsense type of dude. So when you come in, like I heard, we heard the reports of Marsh wearing the gold cleats in practice. He kicked him out of practice. Like, don't ever come back on my field like that again. So it's a different. I think it's a different type of discipline at Indiana. I don't think even if he do turn over his team every year in the portal, I don't think it's gonna be a Florida State situation ever.
What's your thoughts on him saying that over relying on the transfer portal is not going to be something that's sustainable, that's going to be able to keep you at a high level consistently. Do y'all agree with that? Do y'all think using the transfer portal in the way that he's been using it, um, it's not going to be successful for a long period of time? I think it's going to be successful, in my opinion. I think it's very brilliant. But what's y'all's thoughts on that?
Man, all I know is when the draft went on, I dropped some facts on y'all percentage of how many of them dudes was at their original schools or hit the transfer portal, and it was over 50% of them. So we everybody is transferring in this day. Everybody is. I think that's just the college football world we live in.
What's your thoughts on that, T1? Maybe you had to step away for a minute. I feel like there's so many players that go into the freaking portal, man. And if you're winning, guys are going to want to go to a winning program where they're going to be spotlighted, especially if you're in a conference like the Big Ten. You're going to be seen by NFL scouts. I mean, when you look at the SEC and the Big Ten, there are two conferences that have led in NFL drafts year in and year out. We know the ultimate goal for every player that plays in college football who knows that they got some talent, their goal is to make it to the NFL. So I think that Cignetti can go in the portal year in and year out. I think it's sustainable. I think you can go out there because he's a really good judge on character, on players and development, all of that stuff. I think he can do it, and I think it can be sustainable for a long time. I really do. And I think he's going to be successful at it because he knows what he's doing. And there's going to be so many freaking players in the portal. He's going to have a plethora of guys to choose from. So I think it's going to be okay for him. And let's thank Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10 for another super chat. He said he's throwing a flag for us not knowing that Florida State's quarterback name was Mike Norvell. Yeah, we deserve that flag because as much as we talk about your Florida State Seminoles, we should know what the coach's name is. Let's go to our next question, one take. The 2014 playoffs isn't a battle between the SEC and the Big Ten like I thought. I thought those two teams were the Big Ten wanted 24, the SEC didn't want 24. But you know what it really is about? It's about the ESPN versus Fox. Those two are vying for this 24 team or not 24 team because I think for Fox, what they want is they wanted to go to 24 so that they can have an opportunity to get some of those college football games viewed on their channel. And of course, ESPN, who allowed, I think it was TNT and True TV to get a couple of those games last year. They don't want it to go to 24 because then that means their main competitor, which is Fox, will get an opportunity to get some college football playoff games viewed on their channel. So the battle isn't between the SEC and the Big Ten. It's between freaking Fox and ESPN on these numbers when it comes to this college football playoffs. What's your thoughts on that? And do you think we'll ever get to 24?
Yeah, I was reading about that earlier. I don't know, man. Who's stronger? That's what it's gonna come down to, right? Who's stronger? You know what's crazy is though, a lot of people aren't fans of the 24, so I'm actually siding with ESPN and SEC on this. I really don't want to go to 24, but like I said last week, if we must go to 24, it's a few things that need to happen. But man, what I'm understanding from ESPN side of it is basically what you said. They don't want to give up some of them games, but if they do end up having the most strength out of here, they don't want to go past 16 teams. So they either want to leave it at 12 and maximum they want to stay at 16. And that's right where I feel like most of us want the WTP sports dudes lie, So I'm siding with ESPN and SEC on this one. I really don't want 2014 because I don't want conference championships to go away. I want regular season games to still mean something. I understand a lot of people across the country as well are basically saying if we move to a 2014, then you're going to see the Ohio States and the Georgias be in the playoffs every year. I mean, we don't make the rules. We just play the fight. You feel me? But it's just in Notre Dame too as well. They throw Notre Dame in there as well. But and they try to say college football ain't built around those three teams, which is crazy because this is probably our hardest schedule we probably had in quite some time this year. But we still gonna do nothing but win 10 plus games. But like I said, I'm on SEC and ESPN side, man. I don't want to see 2014s.
Man, y'all already know how I feel about this. I believe I spoke about this before they did. Y'all know how I feel about this. Why do you have a top 25 out here? Let it be a reason for a top 25. If y'all want to have 24 teams, cut it down to the top 12. Let's stop talking about 13 through 25 if it doesn't matter or mean anything. So absolutely, it should be going to 20 to 25 teams, 24 teams. Absolutely, y'all know I'm with that.
Yeah, I think at some point, both ESPN and Fox are going to have to make a decision. Are we going to be the two powers and we're going to work together, or is one going to cancel out the other? But I think that there's enough out there for everybody to eat, and I would like to see them both share in this as close to equally as possible. I don't want to see it get to 24. I think 16 is the highest I would want to see it go, unless they can show me where going to 24 is not going to mess up the regular season. It's not going to mess up bowl games. If it's going to make bowl games better competition wise, then I'm all for it. But they got to show me that on paper first before I think about 24. Because right now, I would like to see conference championship games stay intact. But if they go to 24, then we know for sure that they're going to have to go away. So they're going to have to show me first before I start thinking about 24. But I hope Fox and ESPN at some point can get to the point where they understand that, listen, we both are out here. We both want to eat. Let's share in this thing equally, especially when you're going to bring in a true TV. And I think the other channel was TNT, and you're gonna let them get some games over Fox. I didn't necessarily like that when Fox is already a brand that we watch a lot of football games on. So we'll have to see how that thing goes. Let's see what my man SEC Sean had to say about it. He said ESPN and SEC wants 16, Fox and everyone else wants 24. The SEC will fight this. And without them, it can't go to 24. It has to be unanimous. Yeah, I agree with that too, SEC Sean. I think that's what the holdup is going to be. Let's go to our last question or topic that we want to talk about. And it's the situation with Brendan Sorsby. The fact that he gambled on sports, gambled on his own team. And we all know that that is a rule in sports that you cannot gamble on your own team.
Hold on, Rob. Hold on. All right,
so what you gonna say? What you gonna say?
What I read is he's been very adamant that once he got to Cincinnati, he didn't gamble on not one game that Cincinnati had. He did gamble in the sport, and he did a whole bunch of there's some like overseas stuff, like some, I don't know, I can't remember the sports, but he was very adamant that he did not gamble on Cincinnati, and that changes everything for me because I said give him a ban. If he didn't gamble on his team, though, they can prove that he didn't. Then there's no thoughts for me to say he was throwing games or anything. So I now got a little bit of more sympathy for the kid and his vice that he's going through. You know what I'm saying? If you just gambling on regular games, random games, that's one thing, and it's still unacceptable. But if the fact is that you didn't gamble on your own team, then I'm gonna give him a little leeway.
So you're saying that gambling in general is okay for him to do, but not if he's gambling on his team.
No, I did not say it was okay. He shouldn't be gambling in the sport at all. What I'm saying is, I don't think he would deserve a ban. At first I said he should be banned because I was under the impression that he was gambling on his own team. Nah, if he gambling on other teams, I think he needs a harsh penalty, but I don't think we should ban him.
Okay. What's your thoughts on that, T1? Either way, whether it be him gambling on his teams or gambling in general on college football, if not on his team, what's your thoughts on that in this whole Brandon Sorsby situation? And what should Texas Tech's thought be dealing with the situation?
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. Gambling is gambling. If it's not allowed, you're in trouble. And regardless of if he gambled on his team or not, which we know that is a very, very important issue. But if you're not allowed to be gambling as a college athlete out here, you should be penalized. And I'm really getting sick and tired of when it's not us. It's okay, and let's see how we can help them get up out of it. So I say treat everybody like us when it comes to these rule breakings, man. I don't like it because anytime we break a rule, it's just automatically we're the bad guy, But when the cards are flipped over, it's hey, should we really be punishing them? Like they don't automatically. When it's us, we automatically up out of there. Automatically, ain't no ifs, ands, buts, or nothing. So there's nothing. Do what y'all gonna do to an athlete who gambles on a sport.
For those of us out there for those of them out there who don't know who us is, can you let them know when you say us, who's the us? Well, the us he's talking about is the Ohio State Buckeyes. If they do something wrong, then of course they get penalized for it, and everybody think it's okay. They should get penalized. But in this case with Brandon Sorsby, if the rule is you can't gamble on sports, if that's the rule, then I think Texas Tech position should be, listen, we need to go ahead and let this guy go on about his business. Because I think for Texas Tech, your integrity at this point is in play. Did you know that this guy was gambling before you got him, or did you not find out until Cincinnati said something? Cincinnati know that he gambled. He should have some kind of penalty as well, because you allowed a guy who was gambling, if this is the case, to go to Texas Tech when you knew he gambled at Indiana. That's if they knew. They should get some kind of punishment as well. But I think now that Texas Tech knows that this guy gambled, he admitted that he gambled, even though he didn't gamble on Cincinnati. He didn't gamble last year on Cincinnati, but he gambled in general. And the rule is you shouldn't gamble. I think Texas Tech should do the right thing and say, integrity-wise, say, listen, you gambled. Gamble's not allowed. You need to be penalized, and you can no longer play here at Texas Tech. And the NCAA should continue to say he can't play in college athletics at all. he should be made to go on about his business. I understand that he says has an addiction and he's trying to get some help. That's great. I think he should do that. But at the same time, if you gambled and you knew gambling wasn't allowed, because they tell you this stuff. They tell you all these rules, and you have your meetings, and they tell you these things. And if you did it, then you should own up to it. And even him as a player, he should say, listen, man, I broke the rules. I should go ahead and bow out and go on about my business. I shouldn't even have this injunction because I broke the rules. I shouldn't be allowed to play in college football because I knew what the rules were, but I broke them anyway. And I think at some point, every team in college football, college athletics, period, they need to understand that whatever the rules are in place, don't test those things because you mess up the integrity of the game when you do that. And I think you got some coaches out there, you got some teams out there, you got some organizations out there that are trying to stay within the framework of the rules. But then you got some other people who are living in the gray areas, testing out every single rule that there is. And I don't think that that's cool. I think the rules are there for a reason. We know why we got laws. We know why we got rules. And it's to help us govern ourselves so that we don't have chaos. And I think that in this case with Sorsby, Texas Tech, Cody Campbell, Joey McGuire, those individuals need to say, listen, this guy gambled on sports. We wish we knew that he gambled on sports before we took a chance on him and let him go on about his business. And let's go on and let Hamilton go ahead and be our quarterback one and not even worry about Sorsby. We got to get ready for this next season and go on about our business.
I don't know why they would do that though when the case is in the courts. The case is in the courts. So if the judge say, all right, we're gonna suspend him for 6 games, why wouldn't they let him play?
The reality to me, one take is it shouldn't even be in the courts. The guy is guilty of gambling. He broke the rules. He should not be allowed to play college football. I know that he took it to court or somebody took it to court or whatever to try to get him maybe a lesser penalty to where he could play. I understand it. I get it. But the reality, in my opinion, is you broke the rule. The rule probably states that you cannot play because you did this, and his eligibility should be terminated. And I think he should be the example that sends the message to the rest of the people out there that, listen, you cannot gamble. What was the player for Iowa State? Did he ever get to play again? I don't know if he ever got to play again. But if you gamble, you broke that rule, until a new rule comes up that allows you to be able to do that, then I think he should be done. And his eligibility should be, he should be, no more eligibility should be given to him. I think no matter what the court says, whether it be a 6-game suspension or whatever, I think the NCAA and Texas Tech should say, listen, man, you gambled. We got to set a precedent here. You can't play for us. And your eligibility is being terminated.
See, this is my issue, right? I get what you're saying, Rob. I understand. I really do. But we already got everybody across the country breaking rules. We ain't banning all these programs that's going over the agreement for the salary cap. We're not banning these. We're not banning whole programs. You get what I'm saying? So this is a sticky subject, man. I think everybody across the country is breaking rules. So if you saying it's the rules and we got to follow it, it's in place, everybody should be banned. Texas, y'all should be banned because we know y'all not abiding by the salary cap. We know y'all playing the gray area. You know, Oregon, we know they are. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, Ohio State, we probably doing it too. That's what I'm saying. We got rules in place and everybody's breaking them. So we can't say just because it's in the law, you know, in the letter of the law. We got to go case by case. We got to go case by case, and that's why I'm saying I just feel like if he not gambling on his team, get the boy some help. Don't ban him. Get him some help. Give him a stiff, harsh penalty. And you feel me? That way you ain't, you know what I mean? You ain't knocking the drive out of the kid. You still encouraging him to do the right thing out here. Maybe we can get him in some seminars to teach people about these things, you know? But another thing to add too is the judge, he grew up in Lubbock. He went to Texas Tech. He's a Texas Tech grad. He recused himself. I think he didn't put no reason in why he recused himself, but he recused himself. I think he knew he was going to be biased in this situation. This is not a Trinidad Chambers situation. I think we're going to get somebody that's fair and unbiased into the court with this case.
Yeah, and I feel everything that you're saying. And as far as those teams that are doing things, if you're breaking any rules, and sometimes I feel Steve Sarkisian in some of the stuff that he said, because I think he's one of those coaches out there that want to see college football get to the point where the integrity is back there, and I'm quite sure Texas is playing in the gray area as well. But I think that at some point, every school, every coach, they need. That's why I think that everything needs to get revamped. We need to rewrite rules and go over every single one of them, come up with a concrete solution that doesn't favor anybody, that allows everybody to be on the same playing field, and go from there, so that we don't have gray areas where this thing is black and white. You do this, this is it for you. Because I think the integrity of college football is starting to get really, really bad. The reason why we got NIL is because Ed O'Bannon went and sued and all of that. But we all knew, and I think all the coaches knew, players should start being paid for their name, image, and likeness. Now, how it got rolled out and how it's still messy right now, eventually they're trying to fix that thing. And I think that's the way they need to do everything in college sports, man. It got to get fixed. It got to get fixed so we don't have situations like this. Yeah, and I think this is a good point too, that if he is ruled to lose his eligibility, he could be drafted to the NFL in the supplemental draft. I mean, his career isn't over, but his college career might be. But his playing career doesn't have to be over, because I think that he's a good enough player that somebody in the NFL will definitely take a chance on him and see if they can develop him to be their quarterback of the future at some point. Because I think if he plays this year, he's going to be a quarterback that NFL teams are going to be looking at for sure.
I'm gonna say this too, real quick. With these young men now earning money off of the NIL, it should be even stiffer if you're out here gambling and trying to make a couple more dollars, or losing all of your NIL money because you have this gambling addiction. I feel like it should be an even a bigger penalty for gambling. Like, we giving you money, we trying to help y'all out, and it just still ain't enough for you. You still got to try to see how you can get a couple more dollars. I'm not with it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, T1. I think that financial literacy should definitely be something that these college athletes should take a little bit more seriously and understand that, listen, gambling can form into an addiction. We've seen it for years happening with athletes. We've seen it for years when it comes to drugs. We've seen it for years when it comes to gambling. That if you go out there and you start doing these things, eventually there's a chance that you can become addicted to it. And that's not what we want for anyone. We don't want anyone addicted to something that's either going to cause them harm or death. So I agree with you, T1. I think that it should be a harsher penalty if they're because if they didn't have no money, they ain't got nothing to gamble with. But now that you got the money, you want to gamble it away. We're trying to give it to you so that you could make a better way for you and your family, and you choose to gamble. So I agree with you on that as well. That's all I had. All the questions I had. We right up at 1 hour. Is there anything else y'all want to discuss before we wrap it up? But that's all I had.
Hey, now watching these NBA playoffs, I'm starting to hear a whole lot of the talk that I talked about, where we're not really believing what's going on in these games, where the fix is in. They know who's winning before the game even starts. Just like I don't know if we or if y'all talked about it, but it was on social media before that game 7 with Cleveland and Detroit. They showed the glitch where they had the matchup of Cleveland and New York in the Eastern Conference Finals. So is anybody having any type of different thoughts other than what I've been having for probably the past couple of years on this podcast about these games not being played fairly and just the right way, where the best team wins these games?
You said, what was the glitch?
They showed the Cleveland and New York matchup. They put it on the screen real quick. They showed the Cleveland and New York matchup before that game 7 up in Detroit, meaning Cleveland was going to win that game. And then I think they also said they had Donovan Mitchell was supposed to score the 30 points, and he just refused to score the 30. It was all bad. And I'm talking about the 30 points. Now, that was in the game 1 against New York when they was up 22 points. And, I think he had the 28 or whatever it was with like 10 minutes, 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Y'all ain't catch none of that.
Nah, I definitely didn't catch any of it. But I think that there's a chance that you're probably 1,000% correct. I think after hearing you talk about it quite a few times on this podcast, my mindset shifted to, listen, my man saying that don't buy into this, is entertainment. So you know what I do? I just take it for just that, entertainment. Now, do I get pissed off when Texas lose and mess up my whole freaking weekend? Yes. Do I get upset when my Titans lose? It don't mess up my whole weekend when the Titans lose, though. But it bothers me. But I'm just looking at it now as sheer entertainment, man. I'm not going to have no dog really in the fight. I'm just going to watch it for the entertainment purposes, because when you look at it, it does look like a lot of it, if not all of it, is sort of scripted and set up and fake as hell. But I'm just doing it for entertainment, like I watch a movie.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now like WWF back when we was kids, knowing the terrorists, and we watching Hulk Hogan and the Junkyard Dog and Andre the Giant. You know what I mean? When we was watching that, and we just thought just for sure that it was the realest thing that was popping out here. It was great entertainment. And then we found out that it wasn't real as we got older. And I don't know if you know this too, but men our age, a lot of men our age now are going away from sports and just turning off the TV and not even watching it. I'm hearing a lot of that.
Yeah. And
I just want to see the best team win.
Yeah. Good competition. You're right about that. That's what I want to see too. But after seeing and listening to you a couple of times, I'm like, oh man, he might be spot on with this. So it's just gonna be entertainment for me. I still get ruffled, like I said, when Texas lose, but it doesn't sting as bad as it used to.
Right, because it's some BS. The score was already known before y'all even played the game. So now we're looking at it like it is what it is. Like that Miami loss that we took. I just had to look at it as, hey, it is what it is. Ain't much of nothing I could do about that, man. When I know we got 4 first rounders on the whole defense, but we can't stop a college offense, but hey, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, everybody out there, hit that like button, subscribe, check out all of our channels scrolling across the bottom. Give us all a subscription. Hit our like button, hit our bell so you can get notifications anytime we go live. Check us out on Spotify and Patreon at WTP Sports Dudes 2026. Also, go check out our website, WTPSportsDudes.com. We'll be back again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for another show. I'm not sure if One Take Zay is going to host that one or not, but we will definitely be here at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Somebody will be hosting. So hopefully you can join us again then. Thanks everybody out there in the chat for your comments, your questions. We really, truly appreciate y'all. Continue to come and support us. And as our man T1 always say, take us out.
Y'all know the drill. We was in the building. Now we up out of here. Peace, man. I love y'all.
All right, peace, bro. Love you
All right,
too.
love you, fam.
All right, love you too, bro.